Good evening, everyone. It is May 21st, 2023, 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Now, before we get into the actual weekly outlook, I thought it'd be important to kind of take this big, zoomed out view, just give us a really big overall picture of where we're trading. Now, this is the first time we've spent this much time above 40.50. You can see in the past that usually it was just a wick up, fail, wick up, fail, wick, fail, wick, fail. Spent a little bit of time in February, failed, came back below. And this time we've spent all of April and half of May trading in there. And for the first time since February, since the start of February, we've finally broken that high. We've been a new high on the year. Coming into this week, we had a tiny 56-point range from the week prior. Monday, we failed to break this Monday. We failed to break down below last week's value area low, and then we failed to break out of last week's value area high. Tuesday was an inside session until the very end of the day, until we had a liquidation. Wednesday, we held the lows once again. We got this nice afternoon balance above the overnight highs, and then we had this huge squeeze all day long for the rest of Wednesday. Just squeeze. Made it above the third standard deviation of last week's VWAP, made it above last week's highs around 4160-ish, and then Thursday was a continuation of that, ramping over the April high, holding the day prior's balance highs, and finally getting a move over that Q1 high into the close. Friday was our OPEX as well as JPOW, and who was it with him? His name escapes me. I think it's Bernanke. That was causing a very sluggish, churny session. We were notably unable to break through this old external trading hours. I don't like calling it a gap, but it is something that we closed the external trading hours that session at 31.5, and we opened it at 21.50, and we were unable to get actually, that is a tiny gap, 20.7. Oh, no gap. But this close to this open, usually Globex resolves these small price gaps, if you want to call them, and we were unable to still. 31.50 was untouched, 27.25 marking the high. So notably to the downside this past week, we had no trade into the second standard deviation to the downside of the week prior's VWAP. We closed way above last week's third standard deviation of VWAP. We closed above last week's high. We closed above did we close above? Yeah, we closed above last week's high. We closed above last month's high. We closed almost at the Q1 high. We came 4 points short. We closed at 0.4 half. The Q1 high is 0.8 half. So quite a bullish close in terms of positioning. Now, what do I want to see moving forward? Let's go into our slightly smaller time frame chart over here. There we go. Beautiful little guy. News-wise, nothing major this week. Monday, we have absolutely nothing, so I'm looking for perhaps a quiet back and fill session. Tuesday, we do have flash PMI, some new home sale stuff. Wednesday is kind of the bigger session. I expect it'll be kind of choppy for the majority of the day, yelling it at just past 10 a.m., and then FOMC minutes. Probably nothing new in there, but usually just causes some chop leading into it. Thursday, GDP numbers, home sales. Friday, some revised U of M's, consumer sentiment. Nothing too major, just that Wednesday session. So what am I looking for this week? Well, I expect we'll go down and tag last week's VWAP close coming in at 41.69. That also being right around the RTH high from last week, near the external trading hours high as well. Had to sneeze. Right around that VWAP close and the prior week's highs, right around where we had this high close on Wednesday, supported it during the overnight on Thursday, and then had that open drive upwards during the RTH. So I suspect we'll come back to visit this area. Now, the bulls are not really in trouble to me until we start trading below 41.38. That being right around the monthly point of control, that being, I think, the quarterly close or something like that, the Q1 close. We put in another weekly point of control there for, I think, the third week in a row. So if we lose that volume To me, I think we start taking out those swing lows around 4100 to 4116. These lows I'm talking about, this key support resistance level. I think we start to lose that, and we really start trading towards yearly VWAP. 4054 quarter happens to line up with my level right now. So that's what I'm looking for. Is getting a little bit of a back and fill to that 41, 60. What is that? What do I have it as? Maybe that earlier Monday high. Yeah, about 56 to 69. Coming into this area, this mid 50s to upper 60s. See if we can get support there. If not, things get a little bit dicey around 41.38, and if we lose that, I think it's a crap out scenario more or less. Ideally, the most ideal scenario would be bulls holding where we're trading currently. This kind of 41.88 being that key sort of balance highs of this February balance. Ideally, we hold that 41.88, climb back over that RTH monthly high around 41.94ish from whatever it was, April. Yeah, April's monthly highs around there, the RTH being 94s. Ideally, we hold it just like how we did try to on Friday, and then we start climbing up above, breaking that Q1 high at 42.08s, breaking last week's highs, and this important 42.23 number from way back in August. You can see it held the bid there, held some more bids, was offered. So hopefully that would be the most ideal situation, and then bulls can start targeting this big old zone I have over here, and just that being kind of the most important area of August, kind of around that 4300, 4303. So that's what we're looking for. So for now, to me, bulls not completely in the clear here. They're yet to really break the major structure. It's great that they ramped above that Q1 high, but nothing really proven just yet. I want to see a support. I want to see that 41.69 back tested and held, and get it ramp back above 42.08s, which should allow us to clear out this 42.20s and get moving towards the third standard deviation of last week's VWAP around 42.56, but really getting into that sort of 42.80 plus. There's a weekly point of control from at 76ish. I want to see us really start pumping here. There's a gap till about 88s. So I want to see something like that close. I really want to see us getting up towards this 4,300. So hope that makes sense. And I'll go ahead and post the NASDAQ up after this. And then the daily videos. Hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. And trade safe, you guys.